Hey there, good morning. It's Trisha with Easy E-mini Trade, and I'm just going to go over a couple of the 1-minute setups from yesterday, Tuesday, May 14th, just so you guys can get a feel for using the cumulative delta with whatever setup that you're using on any type of chart that you're using. And if you have any questions, you can always send me an email. If you didn't attend the webinar I did a week or so ago, it is available on my site, easyeeminitrade.com. So the recording is there. Just go to the tab that says April webinar recording. Okay, so let's go over a couple things. So before I start, Gordon programmed the Ninja Trader 8 indicators that we use with the Slinky on the stochastics. So we have one indicator that marks shorts, longs, shorts OS for oversold, longs OB for overbought. And this will only plot the current condition. So like if I scroll back, that is not going to change. This is plotting the current condition. And then this is marking the 40-point gap that we look for when taking pullbacks or as a heads up for a bounce or a stall. And no matter what type or size chart that you put that on, when you see that space right there, for example, and this is pre-market, but I'll scroll back to yesterday, this is a heads up that price, in this instance, you just look at it and say, okay, what direction will price, well, basically, let's say, what direction will this green line have to move to find its way up to the red line? And in this instance, it would be up. So that would mean that in order to fill this space, price is going to have to move up or go sideways. Because remember, every indicator that we use is, based on price, right? And you'll see that over and over and over and over again. Gordon did program a couple other little ditties into the indicator. So there's 2 indicators. If you're interested, just go to my site and you can check them out. He's selling them for like $25, very reasonable. But it's helpful because honestly, I've gotten lazy where I just look and see what this is telling me, what direction I'm looking for, the breaks of those super trends. So admittedly, I have gotten lazy with that. So let me just scroll back to yesterday and let's look at some setups. All right, so here's yesterday. Here's where we opened. And I have the market profile on here and I have the volume profile on here as well. And the volume profile, because I scrolled back, is showing all of the volume for yesterday. So less relevant at this moment, but great real time as it's forming. So we're looking for breaks of the super trend stop, right? So this is the 1-minute setup. So we don't have to wait for a close above or below it, but we want our stochastic to be in line with it, meaning the green above the red or the green below the red for the shorts. So right here where we get this break, not quite valid, as we're breaking it because our green line is under the red, so we pass. Now, I'm not telling you to do this right off the open, but if you're familiar with the market profile and we don't have any real direction, realistically, we're expecting this fair value area high to hold and sellers to step in. So if you wanted to be aggressive with that and it fit your trading plan, you could short off of this fair value area high. Again, I wouldn't recommend anticipating areas of support or resistance to hold right off the open. This is 15 minutes in, so you're probably safe to take the trade, and of course, manage your stop accordingly. But if you incorporate your cumulative delta into that, you're going to basically draw a line of support and resistance. So there's resistance and here's support. Just like with price, right? What creates support and resistance? Areas that are holding, right? So if you were looking to short off this area here and you see sellers stepping in, breaking this area of support here, then that lines up with taking a short off that area, okay? If not, then we do get a short setup here when we're breaking the super trend stop and it falls in line with our stochastic here. We do have sellers coming in. And so what would go through my head, even though this over here was just before the market opened, we have this little area creating some support. So if we take this short here, we would just be aware that this area over here in the cumulative delta held, and so we would want to see some sellers step up and break that if this is going to continue moving lower through this area of support. Didn't quite tag fair value area low here, and that's the light blue outline, but hopefully you would be managing it accordingly, trailing your stop. Here, as we are breaking the super trend stop, you can see that we've got and I actually have two moving averages on here. I'm testing a different one out, but you can see they're very similar, and if I make any changes, I'll let you guys know. But in this instance, when we're breaking the super trend stop, and that is where we have the blue right here, when we're breaking that, if the stochastic is in line, we're just looking to put a buy in a couple ticks above. Now the caveat to that is that we want to be above our moving average when we're getting in. So these ones are right into that moving average as it's breaking. So remember, we don't wait for a close for the entry off a 1 minute chart. So this here, as we're breaking the super trend, it's still there, so still relevant, still valid. As we're breaking it, we are above that moving average. And so we could take that, anticipating trading back up to resistance, which would be the fair value area high up here of that blue outline. If you are watching your cumulative delta as we're breaking that super trend stop, you can see that we do, again, over here, we have this area that was support. So now we'd look at it as resistance. So once we're long here, we're going to be anticipating trading up to resistance, but if the buyers can't step up and push through this area of resistance, then it'll likely hold and the sellers will come in, and then this will pull back. And you see it over and over and over again. And then you're just going to keep adjusting your line. So as this is going sideways, then you would move your area of support under that area, right? So we still have that resistance area. If you're still in this trade, not likely. You probably got out, somewhere around this area at the fair value area high, because it just, wasn't going anywhere for about 10, 15 minutes. If you were still holding on, anticipating it to break out, which you have no reason to think it's going to at that point until it does. But, when you're holding on to a position and you see that the cumulative delta is going in the direction that you need, then that just helps support, holding on to your trade a little bit longer. And so you can see we get a new area created. So you just keep marking them. And you'll see here, as we are breaking this super trend to the downside here, we're trading right into support, right? And, you guys need to open up a bigger chart, whether it's a 5-minute or 15-minute, whatever it is, so you can be aware of areas where price has been reacting. We already know that it's probably going to, the probability is good that it's probably going to react here at fair value area high, right? And then also the other thing that I would like to show you is, remember that 40-point gap that I was talking about? So here's that 40-point gap in our stochastic. So this is leading us to believe that this is going to bounce higher. This short wasn't valid anyway, breaking the super trend, because we were in overbought with our red line. So that would be a pass. This buy here technically is not valid into the high of the day because we are not in line with our stochastic. But we know that this is probably going to bounce, and we're at support here, right? So realistically, we could buy this support area, and then you get the buyers stepping up, pushing it through this area of resistance that it created on the cumulative delta. So that all falls in line for taking the trade. So I'm just urging you guys to just kind of play with that cumulative delta a little bit and get familiar with it. And don't ignore areas of support and resistance. Doesn't mean you can't take a trade. Just be aware of the areas where price is continually reacting, because it's going to probably react there again, right? Okay, you guys, so I'll do more of this to help you guys get familiar with it. And if you have any questions, feel free to shoot me an email. This buy here is valid. It's into the high of the day. You can see that little dashed line here. So if you took that as a buy here, then you're looking at the possibility of a reaction at the high of the day. Also lining it up with our cumulative delta, you can see that we have this little area of resistance that we've created, right? Areas, it's just like with price, areas that are holding and areas that have some commonality between bars, that's what you're going to mark as your support resistance area. So as you're getting this buy here, you're breaking resistance here, and then you would watch, if you're in the trade, you would watch to see that you want to see some buyers stepping up to break this area of resistance. And so if you see that, then that gives you cause to, hold on to the trade, or, the probability is that it is going to, pop up to the next area of resistance. And just like here with this short into support, not interested, right? We already know it's support. It's held here as support. It's held here as resistance. So, and we've kind of created a trend to the upside, not a huge trend at that point until it, starts climbing here, but a slow grind higher nonetheless. Okay, you guys, I hope that helps. And again, if you're interested in Gordon's indicators, just go to my site, and then you'll see all the information there and information on how to download and load them. Okay, you guys, have a great day, and we'll chat real soon.